earlier today, we had Paige VanZant on the program, talked to her about all kinds of stuff going on, and talked to her about Jessica I not being happy that she was not fighting her next. She said she didn't know what was going on. They kind of moved on. It wasn't brought back after she had to pull out. Talked about Valentina Shevchenko. So much going on. There's always all kinds of drama. Is she fighting for the belt? Is she not fighting for the belt? And since then, I've heard from Valentina's team who said that they were in talks to fight her. And we just got a tweet from Jessica I. And I like to get both sides of the story. And so I asked New York Rick to call Jessica I. And wouldn't you know it, we've got Jessica I on the phone. Jessica, are you there?
I am. Hi, Arrow.
You didn't think I was going to call you, right?
No, you know what I'm glad. I feel like I feel very good from that. So thank you for calling me.
You doubted me. I see. I like getting both sides of the story. I like getting the truth. We had Paige on. Nothing against you, but there was a lot going on in her life, so we had her on. She talked about your situation. I don't know if you heard it or got some tweets. Tell me what do you know based on the interview, and then we could kind of go from there. Did you hear it, or did you get some like piecemeal information?
No, I had a friend that actually listened to it. I was doing some stuff before I go back in the tank, so no, I did not hear it. But my wonderful little birdies that keep an eye out for me, let me know what I needed to know, and basically, which encouraged me to tweet one of the two contracts that the UFC sent me that Paige had agreed to. I guess I really should have sent you the screenshots of the text message Paige sent to me about originally asking to fight me and agreeing to fight me way back in July. So, yeah, there's so many things that are going on. And I think that sometimes, with the media, you guys pick up on the things Paige says, because you're right. She's got other things to talk about. She's doing some outside of the cage stuff. So everybody always seems to believe that person and not the other side. And I feel like me and, Valentino, who are the best 125ers in the world. And that was before we even came to the UFC. So, I feel like we're both kind of getting shunned to the side, not getting a chance, and Paige is just getting all this time to talk.
Okay, so then let me ask you, she said that, she was willing to fight you. She is willing to fight you in the future, but for this particular, after she had to pull out of your fight at 216, they never went back to the well, and she's now fighting someone else on January 14th. And you're saying, look, I have a contract here for January 14th. So what's the story that you were told? Why aren't you fighting Paige VanZant next?
Because Paige called Dana and asked to get out of the fight. I mean, they were not going to let her out of this fight. And whatever bitch fit she threw, I signed that contract. I signed that one October 18th. I think that was the one that 10/18, I think I got the contract, signed it, returned it that day for that one. I have the other signed contract that we sent back for the other fight and for the other time. So listen, I'm not here saying that maybe two other things weren't being said, but we all know that the UFC does not send contracts to people unless both parties agreed upon wanting the fight and said yes to everything. That went out, and then it was like New York weekend happened, and all of a sudden she came home and realized, like, oh, wait a minute, Jessica is one of the best 125ers, and she can kick my ass. So now I don't want this fight. I would much rather go fight a girl that Beck lost to because she thinks that she beat Beck, which is fine. It's totally fine. But we've been trying to get myself a fight. I haven't been in the cage. I've been begging for 125, and we revolved all of our decision making because Paige was being cooperative. And then one day I think I have a fight coming up. The next day I don't. It's not fair for her to do that. And not even to mention I get offered a short notice fight that even if I would have taken it against KGB, that if the fight would have got pulled on me again. And that's not fair. I've had multiple fights pulled from me, and it's not fair for me to have to deal with it. And it sucks. It's hard.
So you're saying that she called Dana White and said, I don't want this fight. So then what was the reason told to you? They called you and just said, hey, she doesn't want this fight. We have to move on.
She was refusing to fight me. She was going to refuse the fight. I'm sure she would have faked an injury or did whatever she wanted. She would have faked some kind of injury or in some another way to get out of that fight, or whatever. I mean, who knows what would have happened. It's not the UFC's fault. And I think it's bullshit that she's trying to act like it's the UFC's fault. It was a her thing. She was the one who went back and said that she didn't want the fight out of nowhere. After multiple months of us, figuring, after the first one got canceled to reschedule, like in my world, and I feel like in most people's world, that if you make a fight, the fight should happen. You don't get to just choose that. You don't get to just be the dictator of that.
Wow. Okay. Are you still pissed off about this?
The contract. It's not that I'm pissed off. It's that if you're going to tell, like, listen, hey, I told a lie one time about my career and it really screwed things up, and I learned from it. It's not fair that she gets to go and play this little innocent role that people are bullying her and that people are saying things that are untrue. I never said anything that was untrue. Paige reached out to me and texted me in July originally about the fight and said, let's do this. Let's kick off the division. And we agreed because we're fighters and we're professional. That's what we do. And then she gets injured. I even messaged her when she gets injured about saying sorry that she was hurt and doing the right thing, doing what female fighters do best and either try to communicate properly or just be complete bitches to each other. And I said I was sorry and that we would wait for the fight to be scheduled. And then that was what the plan was. And that was the plan until the contract came through. And I signed my end, sent it back. We were told the fight was made. And then that was it. Like, she can't place that on the UFC and say that they didn't communicate it properly to me or say anything. That's bullshit. That's the UFC. You're going to tell them that they have a communication issue?
And so when's the last time you talked to her? You have each other's phone numbers. You texted back in July. Since all this has come up, have you talked at all?
I didn't send any messages after I was told that she was refusing to fight me, for whatever reason, after the contract and everything. And we'd already agreed upon it, like, no, there's no reason to talk now. I'll get my chance. To set myself straight back in the 125 division, a division that I should have been in years ago, that I ruled for multiple years before I even came to the UFC. And I'll see her on the other side of the cage. And it'll be a bad day for her, in that case. But I just think I don't think it's fair that she hanged that things weren't the way that they were. I mean, I'll gladly post out what the contract said, and as I did, so others can see it. I'm not lying. The UFC does not just send random contracts with people's names on it. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
And you are fighting January 14th, correct?
Yeah, right, which is so freaking comical that we're both going to be now on the same card.
Against Kalindra Faria?
Australia.
You're fighting Kalindra Faria, right?
Correct. I don't know why it's not released. I don't know what. I've seen things that were out there, but yeah, both contracts were signed again on that one.
Wait, what were you saying about Australia?
Fight contract sent to me. Well, she said that she, wanted to fight on Australia card and, or wanted to fight in the Japan card. I was open for all those dates, and nobody else was.
Strange. This is a strange story. This is one of the weirder ones. It's
one side trying to cover up, and anytime you try to cover up a lie, it sounds really awkward when someone comes out and says the truth. And I mean, hey, what better than for me to post the contract out? Again, Ariel, and all the two fans know, and all the and even the UFC knows, they do not just send random contracts with people's name on it unless both sides have already agreed upon fighting each other. This is not something I'm just randomly making up, or neither is the UFC.
And have you moved on from her, or do you still want a chance to fight her?
I want to fight at 125, and I have literally been begging Dana since last September when I lost in my hometown. As I said, please, if I'm gonna get any more chances to be in the UFC, can I please fight it at 125? The division I should be in. And, here we am. I'm getting to fight at 125. So, I mean, all bets are off now. I mean, I'll see her somewhere because we're both in this division now.
What if you see her in St. Louis?
Go up against girls like me and Valentino. I mean, listen, Valentino's a big 25er. She's like me. I'm a big 25er. We know how to make those cuts down. We weren't the biggest 35ers, but we're why this division needs to exist.
Well, what do you think happens if you see her in St. Louis? Do you think you'll be able to be cordial?
Absolutely. I'm a professional. She'll listen, Paige is one of those girls that like pride themselves on someone being rude and mean to them and try to make me look like I'm some bad human being. And I'm not. I'm just trying to make a living and make a means for myself. And she's really stood in the way of that. So I won't let her stand in the way of me and the girl that I'm fighting and the publicity we deserve for that fight. So she don't get my attention that way. She'll get it on another day. But believe me, she'll feel my presence. She'll feel my presence. It'll make her comfortable.
Have you been watching Tough?
Absolutely. I fought Barb Honchak years ago, and of course, it was who the number one seed was. So I wanted to see what was going to happen, and I've known of some of those girls, and I should have went into the house. I should have just, considering how the Aspen fight went, I should have just not. I should have chose that direction better, but I'm very proud of all the 25ers, and it's sweet. It's finally here. A lot of girls are very pumped that the 125 division is finally here. Me being one of the most. Yes.
All right. Well, I appreciate you clearing the air here, Jessica, and I appreciate you actually reaching out, sort of via. Yeah. You have my phone number too. You can text me. I'm always around. There's only love on this side of the table, contrary to what you may think.
Great. Well, thank you for hearing my tweet and giving me a chance to talk and get this out to the fans. So thank you, and I'll see you guys on January.
Absolutely. Best of luck in training. Best of luck in the fight on January 14th. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you. Bye.
How about that? Jessica I, surprise drop-in, checking in. I mean, what better way on our Twitter exclusive segment to have someone tweet us saying they want to come in and clear the air?